welcome back to the 7th episode of the My Generation podcast. Today we're going to be talking to Emma, and we're going to be talking to Emma about film photography. And you'll have to excuse the background. It's going to sound like we're underwater in a submarine today. We've got some pipes in the room making some very interesting sounds. So throughout the podcast, get used to that. But welcome Emma. Thanks for coming on.
Hi. Hi.
Well, thank you for coming on today. On today's show, we're talking about film photography. I recently purchased my first film camera. It's a Sea Motormarine35, and I'm just getting into taking photos the old-fashioned way with fixed ISO, lots of grain, and lots of waiting around for your photos. So today I wanted to speak to Emma, a master's student at Canterbury Christ Church University from Thanet, about film photography that she does with disposable cameras. So Emma, what got you into taking photos, really?
I think it's more so, my mum recently started going through like really, really old albums that she like got inherited, and she takes really weird pictures of things, like it's like literally a wall.
Yeah.
And I don't know why, it was just really like nice to see, and it kind of just encouraged me to like do it as well and just see. But it was more of a let's see how this goes, and then when it's printed, see what it looks like. And now I just have so much, I'm just like, I might as well just share it with everyone.
Yeah, because you use disposable cameras, so I imagine you've just got pictures lying all over your room.
Yep, I have disposable. Yeah, I just buy the ones that you get from Boots, nothing crazy. Haven't invested fully yet. But the same procedure, you just buy it, wait ages for it to develop, to pick it up.
And where do you go to get yours developed?
Just Boots in Canterbury.
Yeah,
they're very reliable. I do know some like places around Canterbury though, but I've never had a problem with like going there, and everything's always come out, so I must be doing something.
Yeah,
right?
you're actually taking proper photos. Yeah, I think.
It comes out okay.
Yeah, I think I have that problem with my camera sometimes. I'm about to get the second roll back, and I think I've taken some of them wrong. So.
Yeah, I had one recently. The whole thing came out black, but I know exactly what it was from. I went to a party, and I know that someone just took the camera and just took loads and loads and loads of pictures on it, and they hadn't turned the flash on. There's no like setting changes or anything. It's all very like it's very touch and go. And there's no like that red light meter where it tells you if you're in the wrong range or anything. Yeah. There's none of that. Literally just got to wing it the whole time.
So how do you know if you're taking photos?
You've got to judge it. You just got to judge it. I literally just think you've just got to judge it, because they all come out quite dark anyway. But there's 3 different hues that you can get. There's like ones that's like a purple colour, one that's like a blue, and one of a yellow colour, and then there's the black and white. And they're Boots' own brands, but there is also a Fuji one there, but they're quite expensive, and I probably wouldn't use them unless it was for like a really nice occasion.
And you know the photos are going to come out.
Yeah, and I know the photos will come out properly on that one, but it's money, isn't it, at the end of the day? Yeah,
film photography, it can be an expensive hobby long term, especially if, because I get mine from the Canterbury Camera Shop, and it isn't too expensive, but when you start taking lots of photos, it kind of works out, I think, like 10p per photo, but then if you take a lot of photos, that builds up quickly.
Yeah, and they obviously physically build up. You just don't have to store any of them. But I get like the massive fat photo albums that you can get at like Flying Tiger and stuff.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, they're literally like £4. You can literally put 500 photos in it. And what I've started to do, like I used to write diaries and stuff. I've stopped doing that, but now I'm just logging visually. So I've got like an album from last year, I have an album from this year. I'm putting them in, and then the whole like all of that. But yeah, it just looks nice, I think.
So it's like a diary.
Pretty much.
Do you write around it as well, or do you just have the moments?
I think it's more so the moments, like where I am. But I feel, and obviously but the album itself is a year. I feel though when I have like if I do invest in it, I probably will like write a bit more about like what sort of ISO I've used, like things like, I don't know the technical terms, but things like that. I probably will write stuff like that down. So I have been told by photographers that this is a good way of like learning how to like take pictures on film and stuff. So yeah, it's just a learning curve for me, but it's something I would want to get more into rather than just buying from boots
Yeah.
sort of thing.
Well, it's and taking them blind, I think that's the bit that shocked me the most, because
Literally.
my camera's really restricted because I have it's obviously fixed ISO because it's film. There's no shutter speed. And the focus you have to guess, so that you can't even tell distance. There's like a mode that just has like an infinity symbol on it, and that's got pretty much all of it. But if I want specific focus, it's guessing.
Yeah.
I can tell my focus range because on the left it has like those. It has underexposed, exposed, and over, and that's it. There's no like middle ground. It's you're either on it or you're not.
Yeah.
So how have you been able to train yourself to take photos without any guide?
I think I've gone to a lot of different environments with it now, and I've kind of got the general gist of it. For example, I was recently in Tokyo last year, and literally the pictures you want to take are nightlife there. Like, you're just going to have the best pictures, but a lot of them came out very dark and grainy, but where the lighting was penetrating through the city light, the pictures were still coming up, but it was like I feel like that would have been of my balance. Like, I feel like I couldn't have gone darker than that.
Yeah.
Unless there is like a light that I'm directing the image at. But there have been some really, really bad failed ones that have come out. So I feel like the cameras all around tend to be pretty decent with distance.
Yeah.
It's just they're very, very sensitive to light.
And why do you use a film camera as opposed to a digital camera or just your phone?
I don't know. I used to have like, do you know that stupid app Fuji Film? Alright,
paint a picture.
Yeah, I'm not dissing anyone that uses it, but a lot of people use it for the aesthetics of how pictures come out.
Yeah.
And I believe it's meant to be like a 35mm sort of like looking phone app, but I've actually got a different one on my phone which is called 1998 film.
1998 film.
Yeah, so like it's called 1998 cam.
Yeah.
And the pictures so you will look at the camera and when you take it, it loads it up.
Yeah.
Etc. But it comes out like a bit differently, so the colours get a bit distorted and stuff. And
so it's
hazy,
imitating the look.
basically. And I overused this way too much.
Yeah.
Like, so much last year. And it was one of those, like, when I went to Tokyo, the people that I went with, they were all, like, kind of film people. They, like, a few of them took film cameras with them. And I just kind of jumped on the bandwagon. But it's more so I just like... I don't know, I like this film look, and also it stops me spamming my pictures so much. I find that when I take a nice picture, I'm like, I need to post it straight away. I get a bit ahead of myself, and I'm not one really for social media anyway. Like, sometimes I can be on it all the time, but then other times I need to get away.
Yeah.
And I think with film, it's kind of brought me into the waiting game of actually respecting media, like social media a bit more.
Yeah.
And just respecting photography in general, because... my creativity, I'm very, it's a painting. I'm very, like, that's it. There'll be not much else that I have to say about the matter.
Yeah.
And I don't like that side of me. I like to be pushed into corners, like, where I can actually do different things and not just be so, like, that's a picture.
Well, it's because you've got a restriction. You work with the restriction. It's like, I do playwriting, and if you set yourself a box, you're like, it has to be set here with these people. Suddenly, I think you're a better writer, and I think the same with photography.
Yeah.
Put on those restrictions, and suddenly...
It's very much, you kind of have it in all sort of aspects of, like, life. But I don't think... I've seen so many people buy, like, the DSLRs and Canons and etc.
Yeah.
When I was at college, and no one used them. You would spend so much money on these really, really, really nice cameras that could do so much, and all they would do is auto settings, and they would use it for like a period of a month, and then never use it again. And I was just like, I can't commit. Not one, I'm a student, and I can't spend that much money.
Yeah. And
I can't spend that much money and not use the item to my full extent. Like, I don't know. It's just me being lazy, really. Yeah. Like, this is easier accessible for me than using my phone. Yeah,
because with a DSLR, it's very easy to take lots of photos really quick. Because I went out 2 weeks ago. I took my film camera with me and my DSLR to a train depot open day, and I ran out of film. Yep. And then when I went back to my DSLR, I was like, wait, this is too easy. I've got hundreds of photos now rather than like 10 really good ones.
I think with film, you've got to open conversate. Like, you've got to. So I have a for example, I have a 3-week holiday coming up, and I'm like, how many do I need to bring with me?
Yeah.
And I'm like, I know for a fact I'll bring more than I need to. Like, for a week, I normally bring, like, 2 cameras.
Yeah.
And so I've got to bring, like, maybe, like, 6. But I'm going to, like, a beautiful city. I'm going to be, like, literally overwhelmed by everything. I'm so excited. So I'm just going to be taking pictures of everything that I see. So I'm planning to buy quite a few for that trip. If not, actually have a camera that I can use and just get film from somewhere.
Yeah, like a proper film camera.
Yeah. You can get them like really nice second-hand ones on like Depop and like eBay and stuff like that. But something that's nice and easy for me to use. And then
for this trip, it's
and
a big trip.
Yeah, and like obviously when you load it, you have to do it in the dark. And I'm gonna be in India, and in India, there's literally like sun everywhere, like it's all around you. So I don't want to
expose it.
Yeah, so I need to get into the habit of like getting the confidence, but also having backups of something that's already loaded, already ready for me to go, and I don't have to deal with it at all.
Yeah, as you said, it is a learning curve because I'm only just starting to learn how to do this, and I'm picking up more skills really quickly. Now I know how to do this for the first time ever, and loading the film. I've loaded it wrong a few times.
Yeah.
I fired off the camera and it just started making a noise, but nothing was happening. And I took it into the camera shop and they were all freaking out about it. I'm like,
everyone's like, well ending.
Yeah, I feel like that's the thing because you sort of treat a film camera like your baby, and if it all starts to go wrong, it's just like, what's happening to my child?
They can really mess up, can't they? It's like, you don't want to like screw them up.
But like, I think the actual cameras themselves can be kind of accessible because, I mean, my one was £40, which is quite cheap for a camera that can take photos and just straight out of the
underwater, doesn't it?
It takes them underwater too. I haven't done that yet. I still need to do that.
It's a pretty cute looking camera, actually.
Yeah. Well, we have it today.
We have it today.
You guys
can't see, but it's
here.
here.
It's here, and it's bright yellow, and
it literally looks like a submarine. There's like a thing. I don't know how you describe it. The song "Yellow Submarine." Just think of the song "Yellow Submarine." That's that camera.
Well, that's how it got its nickname. Yeah, it's
cute.
It is. Well, it's also like people like talking about film cameras. I know if I ever go out and take photos like with some friends, I've had strangers come up to me, ask me about the camera. They want to talk about film. It's very like-minded. There's a lot of people still doing it. I didn't expect that.
Have you ever like asked someone to take a picture on the camera for you of you?
No.
That's an experience.
Oh no.
That's a great experience. You hand them, so obviously you like, oh, can you take a picture? And they assume that you're going to pass them a phone.
Yeah.
And these people, like, obviously, like, I tend to try and go for someone that might have used one before.
Yeah.
Or have. Looks like they know what they're doing. But it's very, like, you see them holding it, and then they actually put the finger over the lens, and they're like, what do I press? And you're like, and then you do this. And they all get, but they get really, really into it, and it's really fun. And when I was in Japan, they love it. They loved it over there. You'd hand them a film camera, and they'd be like, "Oh my god, it's a film camera!" And they'd be like so excited about it.
Are they quite used to in Japan? Was it more digital usually? So
yeah, they love their phones. Everyone in Japan's always on their phones, like all the time. Everywhere you go, they're staring at their phone. I don't know too much about it, but I know that there's like a sort of film camera sort of thing that goes on over there. Like, there's a few cameras that come from there and stuff, and I know that they're into that.
Well, I think my camera comes from Japan.
Most likely, and they seemed really excited about it. But when that definitely is an experience. Get someone to try and take a picture on your film camera. Because people never know what to do.
No. Yeah, no one knows how to use my camera besides me, and I didn't for the first week.
Yeah, it's a fun experience because people are like.
Yeah.
Obviously, we're so technology based now. They don't expect you to pass on something that they saw in the 90s sort of thing.
Yeah.
They're like, oh, I used one of these 3 years ago. And I'm like, yeah, I know. I'm using it now.
Yeah. Or you just get someone who's young and has never seen a film camera.
And my favourite is when they've got like really long nails and they've got the nails on there and you physically can't click the clicker. And I'm like, wow.
No. Oh, see, I'm lucky with mine because it's a massive side handle thing.
Yeah, these ones are quite small. They're quite small buttons. They're quite like dainty.
Well, I haven't seen the cameras in Boots. Can you paint a picture for the listeners of the camera that you've got at the moment?
Listeners, okay. I don't know. I literally don't know how to describe it. I don't even know what to compare it to. They're like plastic. They're already like wrapped up and stuff. And what the funny thing is, they put a cardboard print on front of it that makes it look like it's an old 35mm camera, like a really old one, but it's just a piece of cardboard.
Yeah.
And then you get there's a pink, blue, and a yellow one. But I don't know how to describe a disposable camera really.
Go to your local Boots.
Yeah,
and
just Google
look,
it.
and
You'll
look.
find out.
Yeah, you'll see it there.
Use technology.
Yeah.
Find out.
Use technology to find out about your old technology.
Old technology.
Yeah.
Yeah. Actually, funny. Something interesting was I went to this. There's an exhibition in Canterbury called Punch or something.
I went to that.
Yeah,
it
says,
yes.
"Do you want to get punched in the face?" And I saw the advertisement. I was like, "I most certainly do." And you bought, and I can't remember what it was. It's down that pastry shop, and you go down there, and it's in there. But there's actually an artist. I'm not going to say his name, but there's an artist in there. He's challenging digital and analog photography. And it talks about spoken briefly about how film photography took so long to be acclaimed, and that digital photography should have the same sort of pickup. So over time, it should take a while before it. I've just described that so badly, but it was really interesting how some of the photographers in there, although they're Canterbury College students, were really challenging. Analog photography just in general. You should go to it. That's a really good exhibition.
It was
it's free.
Well, it's gone now.
It
finished.
Okay.
Well, we're recording this on the 25th. I
Oh.
think I saw them packing up yesterday. 25th of March. Not March. We're in June.
We're in
June. I think it finished on the 23rd of June, but it was good. And I'm sure on Canterbury College's website or the University of Creative Arts, they'll still have posts about it, because I did go and actually see it. It was a beautiful old building, wasn't it? And it was so
really
detailed.
rickety and old and crooked, and the ceilings were low, and you felt like you were going to fall down the stairs.
And you could see out onto the river as well.
Yeah,
straight
when
into.
you went into the higher education section. That was brilliant. Yeah, I liked it. I really liked it.
And
I just like the advertisement. Do you want to get punched in the face?
Yeah.
And like, yeah, sure, why not? It's free.
That's great. Yeah, well, it raises the eyebrows, doesn't it?
Yeah. It was. The advertising was brilliant. I liked it. It was different for me. I've never been to Canterbury College, or was it you?
I think it was a bit of both, but I think it might have been UCLA.
I think it's UCLA. Not UCLA. Because UCLA already had. I'm pretty sure they already had theirs. We've had ours.
It was at the one opposite the Beanie, you know.
Yeah, I know
so
the one.
It was opposite the Beanie, called Punch, and it was a college level education somewhere in Canterbury.
And it was brilliant.
It was good. Oh, yeah. Good. And because I know when I was at college, I was at Canterbury College, we used DSLRs the whole way through. Never even thought of using a film camera, because I did a film course, so that would have meant all sorts of pain.
Yeah. I know. I knew a few people at Canterbury College, and these are the people I refer to that bought these cameras and never used them. Like, they haven't used them since, as far as I'm aware, and or have sold them on. So for me, it's just something I don't think I can invest on.
Yeah.
And then not have discounts. I know the university offers discounts on Dixon's and stuff, but it's just too much money for me.
Yeah.
I know in the long run, film will tend to be the same amount, but I can spread my money out a bit more.
Yeah. Well, it's once you know you can invest in the hobby, because all hobbies have a cost to them. And this one's it's a bit different to a DSLR, because a DSLR, once you've got it and you've paid for it, you've got the DSLR. And the only maintenance is really making sure it doesn't all fall apart, and maybe buying lenses.
Yeah, or lens cleaning stuff.
Yeah, but film cameras have a lot more running costs associated. But I think that's part of the struggle.
What I like as well is some film cameras you don't need to get lots and lots of extra equipment for them.
Yes.
You've got what you're given.
Yeah.
Maybe you want a case for it and that's it, but you get what you're given.
Yeah. Well, my camera is a case,
yeah,
so...
Yeah. Some of them have their own cases on them, so...
And some, you can't even change the lenses. You can't change the lens on mine. I have a friend who rebuilt an old film camera that he broke. And he somehow managed to put it back together and it's working again, but that has interchangeable lenses. And I think Nikon still produce old film lenses.
Yeah, I've seen that, actually. I have browsed the websites a few times. But I think I am going to probably go for second-hand. There's some really cool... charity shops that are in Canterbury actually have some interesting film ones. Yeah. We are actually at the shop, the one I work at, we're actually selling a Super 8.
Really?
But we have no idea if it works, and I need to get someone to look at it and see if it works.
I might have to look into purchasing.
You have to look into it. Literally, we're selling it. It's I'm pretty sure it's still there in the vintage section.
Yeah.
And it's been sitting there, and when I saw it, I was like, no way, it's Super 8.
And we don't mind about advertising in here, because Yeah, we're all about. This is a very local Kent podcast, so
Okay.
I mean, we've got to the local stuff before the local stuff, and
Okay.
yeah, that's at Queen Bee
Oh,
Home.
yeah, Queen Bee Home, yeah, Mercery Lane.
Yeah, it's
Can't
yeah.
miss us.
Well, if you can see the cathedral, you can probably see Queen Bee.
Yeah, we're
So-
on the air. We're the sweet little coffee shop that's at the cathedral.
That has a Super 8.
And dogs, we allow dogs too.
Lots of dogs.
And there's a Super 8 in there somewhere.
Somewhere.
Somewhere
Not,
along. We
Yeah.
have so much stuff in there, but it's somewhere in there. I know that.
to be fair, I bought my CNC when I was in Brighton, and I don't really think we knew, me or the lady in the shop, if it worked, because it wasn't really a camera shop. It sold cameras, but it primarily sold like pictures of Brighton, and they just had like 3 or 4 cameras, and it was the only one that wasn't silver.
What's the best one? There's one in Canterbury that's like, so it's not the Children's Trust, it's the one that's a bit further down towards Westgate Towers, just before Cancer Research. There's like one there.
Oh, do you mean like
Pilgrim's Hospice, maybe.
maybe?
They always in the window always tend to have like a camera or two, and then I think someone actually looks at them and says if they work or not.
Oh,
Which
interesting.
is quite fun.
Yeah. I
and-
didn't know if in the charity shops they actually like.
Yeah, there's a few charity shops that will like one-off sell a camera, which sometimes you can get lucky.
Yeah.
Like, I've gotten lucky with game consoles in there before. Like I've picked up like a GameCube. It's a good buy, but sometimes it's just you got to play the odds really and see if it will work.
Yeah.
It's not a shame if it doesn't. It looks nice still, but
Display item.
display. Yeah, you can just display it somewhere. But
Yeah.
you're playing a lot of the odds at the moment. So
Yeah. Well, I mean, Queen Bee is quite a interior design shop, so I wouldn't
Yeah,
be surprised if the Super 8,
predominantly, yeah.
if it doesn't work, you can at least be like, hey, here's my not working Super 8.
no, not working Super 8, but say you own a Super 8 and you could probably fix it. Right?
Like my friend did with his film camera.
Yeah.
If you have a broken film camera, listeners, fix it.
Fix it.
And take photos and send them to us.
Yeah, we want to see.
Yeah,
I like
at the My Generation podcast on Facebook. If you take a film photo and send it to us, I will try and feature it on one of the next episodes. Because we're pre-recording this quite far in advance. This isn't going out till like the middle of July.
Oh damn!
But-
I won't even be here.
What? Oh, you'll be in India, won't
be
you?
in India.
You'll be taking photos whilst
I'll be taking photos while this is happening.
while you're listening to this. Emma is currently in India
I'm
taking
in
photos.
taking more photos from
Well,
my blog.
Feel free to plug. What is the blog? What is the Instagram?
The Instagram is at Autumn Bones with 2 S's at the end.
Links in the description.
Yeah, I've kind of like linked myself to it now, but it was going to be a private blog. But some people or creatives in Canterbury are aware of it and know it's me. I don't really care if people know it's me though, but because I don't really post anything weird on there. But yeah, what do you want me to describe the style of it?
Yeah, go for it.
It's all 35mm. When I do invest in a camera, I will be stating in descriptions that it's a different camera I've used. But no, I don't know. I'm actually quite proud of it. I like the way it looks. I like the way I'm styling it at the moment.
Because you hold all the photos up, don't you? Rather.
I physically hold them to a white background.
And then what do you take the photo with of that? Is that just with a phone?
That's
or?
just with my phone.
Yeah.
It'd be cool to do a photo of a photo, but
Yeah.
I just don't have the time for that. But yeah, no, I like the idea. It was one thing I find on Instagram. Instagram's like one of the best. I think at the moment I've been told by photographers that it's one of the best platforms for photography at the moment. Other than when you get shadow banned, which is always fun.
What's shadow banning?
Shadow banning, it's when you're tagging, when you put your tags underneath, but they don't show up on the tag that you tagged them as, and it means you've been shadow banned by Instagram. I've been blocked twice for spam, which means I'm not allowed to go through and like anyone's work. I have to like save it all until I'm unbanned from it.
That's
it's
interesting.
it's
Do they
very
tell you they
interesting.
ban you, or does it just?
Yeah, when you go to like it, it will say this is temporarily unavailable.
Yeah.
Blah blah blah, and they will just say
Oh.
something wherever the hell they like, and it's down to the fact that maybe I've liked too many things. But shadow banning is like a big thing at the moment. I know one. I think he's a graphic designer. He just had to recreate his Instagram because his other one was so shadow banned. There was no point in me even using it anymore. So he just had to archive it and create a new Instagram.
Oh.
But yeah, it's just a restriction. But one thing I find on Instagram is when I look through the tags of like 35mm and blah blah
Which
blah.
I do too.
I find that I struggle to differentiate between when someone has literally taken the picture and edited it like 35mm or when it legitimately is.
That's how good editing is these days.
Editing is crazy nuts. I've been behind the scenes with a photographer recently, and I've been watching how I'm not going to talk too much into it because I don't want to embarrass him. But I've been watching behind the scenes, and and I don't want to say too much, so, but he can really how do you say, edit the environment to suit his picture, and it's really cool actually.
Yeah.
How manipulate, that's it. You can really manipulate the surroundings with like Photoshop and stuff, and it's really cool. Like, it's nuts to have those skills, but like at the same time, seeing that has made me realise that I want to make sure that my photos are photos of 35mm.
Yeah. So have you done any work with like manipulating the development? Because I remember we spoke about at the Daphne Oram building at the uni, you can go in and develop your own photos.
Yes.
Not freely for students. It's for
students.
students.
Don't just walk in.
You can't just walk in.
No, I've not actually tried any of that. I do have I have a friend called Max Max as well.
Another Max.
That works at Canterbury Photography opposite Waitrose.
That's the camera shop that I think we've had this conversation. Yeah, I know him.
I know for a fact, knows how to. I need to rack his brain at some point. So hopefully I've spoken to him before he hears this podcast. Yeah. I want him to show me actually how to develop, because I would like to know if there is a way, because that is a question that I can't answer. But I would love to know if there's a ways I can manipulate my photography in that sense.
And the people at the camera shop in Canterbury know it's like there's a lot of people in Canterbury that know how film photography works.
Yeah.
And that surprised me. I thought it was a dying thing, and then I started doing it, and I realised everyone does it.
Yeah, so many people are doing it. It's really nice actually, like, and seeing the amount of people that do actually use it. I haven't come across on my Instagram though anyone other than obviously people that I personally know. No one else in Canterbury. But I would love to like find people like in other Instagrammers that are in the area. Maybe we can do some funky stuff together, because I like a lot of the pictures I take requires me to walk a lot, and I like going on hikes and stuff. I'm always like I
want to do some photography walks in Canterbury. Yeah. So you know the walk past Toddler's Cove, Charlton. I want to do that as a photography walk.
That'd be cool. Good ones I went on recently is Selling up into Perry Woods.
I've never been that way.
That's really fun. Just get a little quick train to Selling, get up at Selling, walk about 1.5 miles up to the Downs through Perry Woods. That's a really nice walk.
Yeah.
I didn't have a camera with me at the time, but I was helping a photographer with his work at the time. So it was just like, it was quite cool actually to see like people professionally doing stuff.
Yeah.
But that's what sparked when I saw him editing, is what made me think I need to actually show these are real 35mm. They're not just like something I've edited.
Yeah.
And that's why I started holding the pictures.
Because then someone knows that you.
That I've taken the effort to actually like struggle and wait for these pictures to turn up for a week.
Yeah.
But I've got everything backed up. I have loads of pictures backed up, so I'm okay for about a month of posting.
You've got content to...
I have content ready.
Just like we do on the podcast. We've got episodes for all of summer.
Yeah, I'm ready. No, I am ready. I'm backed up. I think I'm going to have to hand the Instagram over to someone though while I'm in India and give them all my posts ready. Because I like to post. I would like to at least post once a day.
Yeah.
Not that it's not something I would ritually do, but I would rather not be on that Instagram for about 3 weeks, because when I'm away...
You've got to focus on the work.
Yeah, I've got to focus on work, and also we've already been told about restrictions of internet and stuff. Because it's not like Tumblr. In Tumblr, you could like queue things. You could queue
schedule posts.
Yeah.
Like we do with this podcast.
You could schedule posts. But it would be really cool if Instagram had that hint.
Yeah, I wish to.
It would be cool.
It would make my life easier.
Yeah, there's so much. It's like you forget about things, and you're like, now we're in the inconsistency.
Because you can set it up with the tags and everything, so that all you have to do is press go. So because you can have them stored, you know about that, but you can't actually set a time for it to just happen.
No, that would be a really cool. Yeah, I think that would be a cool flex of Instagram.
Flex.
Did that. Nice flex if they did that.
Well, it's interesting you said about backups, because when I get my film given back to me, I get the pictures, the original film, and a CD.
Oh, damn, okay.
So I can immediately put it onto my laptop, and then, not that this has a CD player, nowhere has CD players anymore. I had to dig out one from the loft. And but it surprisingly still worked, which was a surprise. I haven't used it in 5 years, so. But then that means I can just put them straight on my computer. Those go on Instagram, and then the physical ones are just for me. But I don't know how to display them yet. Do you put any up in, like, do you display them in your room at all, or is it all just in the album?
Actually, yeah. If you go in my room, I have like bits of string. So I can't really describe my room.
Is it like they hang from the roof?
Yeah, because I've got lots of artwork framed and on my wall. Like my wall is covered in photo pictures. But I have like pieces of string that link between them, and then I'll have a few that like pegged up. But they tend to be my personal pictures, not pictures I've taken. But normally what I'll do, I'll show. So if there's someone that's been in like the photo set, I would normally show them the pictures and see if there's any that they would like.
Yeah.
And I allow them to have it, because I can always just like take them and like get a copy of them. I have the negatives at the end of the day.
Yeah.
But yeah, I know the ones that all tend to go on my blog tend to go just into albums, and then I'll write little notes of them in the album. But yeah, there's like one or two, but they would tend to be like actual pictures of people rather than like places and things.
Yeah. And so you obviously you try and share every day on Instagram.
Try to. Yeah.
Try to. What's the reason for sharing? Is it to tell a story? Do you write captions that explain the situation and where you were?
I will always put location. That's a thing. Sometimes I'll put like a little rant. Obviously, I've been trying to be a bit private on the blog, like not really say who I am.
Yeah.
So there's no like links when I say certain things in it. Yeah, sometimes I'll put like little rants or personal comments. I have some spoken word pieces lying around. Sometimes I might do that.
Yeah.
If not, it will just be like I'll just say something, like I'll just say what it is or something.
Yeah.
Nothing crazy. I'll rant on one of the pictures, and the picture's nothing to do with it. We all do it. We all post a picture that's like of like a cup of coffee. You're having the worst week of your life, and it's like it's the coffee's fault. The coffee's helping. Yeah, it's one of those. But no, I won't do that consistently. I don't want to subdue my work to that. Not that it's just a hobby. It's not like my work.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's just a hobby. I'm just enjoying it really, and I've had some really nice responses from people across the world, which has been nice.
Well, it's very. You start to interact with other photographers who do the same thing. I've got a couple of friends on Instagram when I did my Lego photography more heavily. Made some friends through that. Made some friends before just taking pictures of anything.
It's a different community that I've been opened up to.
Yeah.
And it's a massive community as well. It's really threatening.
Threatening?
Yeah, it's because obviously I'm just like an amateur. I don't even like frame the pictures. I don't board them out. I literally just take them and hope to like. So
is it just more intimidating? Is the word then?
Yeah, because I'm not doing this to step out of the amateur phase. I'm going to be amateur for this for the rest of my life. I'm not doing it to like there's no like job career or anything in it. It's literally just a hobby I enjoy.
Yeah. And
like most hobbies, I tend to drop them after a while. But this is something I've like kept going for quite a while now, so it's quite nice.
How long have you been doing this overall?
I'd say like fully a year. But I do have like one or two photos that are just like dotted about that I've taken like analog pictures on. But it's been more so to do with like in the past year I've decided not to use social media as much, and I like old fashioned ways of doing things. So I think it's just been more that last year or so really like literally gone for it. That's why I have so many backed up now. Yeah. Like I haven't even started posting my Japan pictures yet. There is so many. I have a whole album of just that.
Well, because this is coming out in July, as you're listening,
you'll probably see them. You'll probably start to see them.
They might be coming out now, right, as we're talking.
You'll probably start seeing them in July, actually,
Yeah. So that's what Emma and I have had to say so far about film photography. But do you have a story to tell on this subject? If so, feel free to leave us a comment on YouTube, or you can contact the Facebook page at the My Generation Podcast, and we will be featuring comments through the next few episodes, so please do get in touch. We're doing episode 7 today, so I think in 9 or 10 we'll feature your comments as well. I keep having to remember what one we're on, because this morning I recorded episode 8, so my brain's like really backwards. Yeah. But now we've briefly already touched on it, but local impact. We talked about places you can buy film cameras, and we briefly touched on a few places you can go to take photos. Are there any other places you'd recommend within the area of Kent? If you're a film photographer, you've just got your first film camera, you want to go somewhere that you can go for a walk and take some nice pictures. selling. We've talked about Toddler's Cove. Are there other places you'd recommend?
Oh, Reculver. Reculver Beach. You got to decide what way you want to go. You can either go into Herne Bay and walk from Herne Bay, or you can go into Birchington and walk from Birchington. Either or, it's going to take you about an hour and a bit to get there. But it's a beautiful beach. I've done a lot of my actual personal research there, and it's just bloody nice. It's just a really nice beach. I'm trying to think of other places. That's probably my favourite place.
Yeah.
There's one in Thanet called Joss Bay.
I've been there.
Yeah, that is very that's photographed quite a lot actually.
Really?
Yeah. I think like a year or two ago it like won Best Beach or something, but it was because a picture of this photographer took of it, and it actually won an award for being like a really beautiful beach. But I like forests. So like Elam in like I think it's near Folkestone, Elam Parkwoods.
Yeah, I've heard of it. Yeah,
that's it's a nice, massive, dense coppice forest. It looks very American, but it's not.
Yeah.
It just looks.
Spoiler alert.
Yeah, spoiler alert. No, it just looks really, really dense. It's really nice. But yeah, I'm more of a forest girl.
Yeah.
I do like just running through a forest or doing something in forests.
Well, there's something like magical about how the tall trees, how it can look through the sky, but also what's right ahead of you.
Yeah, there's a lot going on in them, and you always see some pretty weird things in there.
Yeah?
Yeah, you see weird things in forests, I think.
Yeah, you've seen from people being there, but the stories, you don't know what's happened, so you've come to the aftermath or something. But,
I definitely know there's other locations. I can't vouch for them, though, as I haven't been there.
Have you been to in Margate, they've got the big pool? The Victorian giant square thing.
Yes.
Because I feel like we talk about it on every podcast episode, so I'm going to bring it back again. Because in episode 6, I talked with someone who's swam there before.
Okay.
And I don't know if you've been to take photos there.
I can't remember what it's called. I do know the place that you're on about. No, I've been there. I don't live too far from it, actually.
Yeah, that's why I asked.
Yeah, I don't live too far at all from it.
You can listen to episode 6 to have a fully vivid picture painted by Connor Jenkins, who...
Oh, fair.
Because he's from Margate, where it is. And,
okay.
Yeah, it's quite nice. I think that's quite photographic. I've seen someone do a video about it because it was starting to get quite underused. But no, that's the weekly mention of that.
It's very... desolate. Like the original one's very desolate looking now. It's near the Lido.
Yes, yeah.
I think it actually might have been called. There's like a bit under there that is called a Lido.
Yeah, I know.
But the pool is like right next to it, and I do know the one.
Yeah.
I've not been like swimming or anything. I used to when I was younger in one in Westgate that was similar to it, but that got like buried in and stuff. Because it wasn't maintained. But there is a few other like locations. Like Whitstable is very popular sometimes.
Whitstable's beautiful.
Yeah, I've been to Whitstable, but I haven't been to the beach.
Oh, you should do that.
Yeah, I've been to Whitstable a few times. I've just never, for some reason, not gone to the beach.
Well, if you thought Queen Bee had a lot of dogs.
Yeah. No, there's some really nice places around here, and we're quite lucky. If you live in Canterbury, you're quite lucky. You are surrounded by the coast. To be honest, you are pretty close to it all. So there's no excuse.
Yeah.
No excuse.
And obviously it's a very Kent-based show, but if you aren't from Kent, I'm sure that there's your own beautiful little hidden away gems in whatever part of the world you're from. And if you've got other places, whether you're in Kent or not, do leave them in the comments, because we're always looking for places to go on photography walks, as I try to actually plan and cobble one together, a real event.
You should do an industrial walk with me.
Okay.
Like one of my favourite things is I love being taken to like old abandoned buildings.
Oh. It sounds like a good photography walk.
Yeah, I just got I have a thing for train stations and subways as well.
I'm big on trains.
Yeah, and graffiti as well. I like graffiti on things. Yeah. I think that's one of my favourite things.
You see, I really like freight trains.
Freight trains.
I have a tiny little hidden Instagram that I don't tell people about, that I post videos of.
It's all coming out now.
I know. this
Heard it here first.
This is an exclusive 1 month later, where I post like just videos of freight trains I see on my way to work.
Yeah.
And when I went down to Brighton, I had to take a funny route where we had to go through Red Hill and Gatwick. And I've never been to those stations before, and I saw some really cool freight trains, and they were all covered in graffiti and stuff. Absolutely loved it. But that's my favourite. I want to get a good photo of a freight train, but I keep filming them on my phone. So no, I see. And so do you go to just regular train stations, or do you find sort of the old, abandoned looking?
There's some like really old, funky ones around here, like Charlton. Not that it's old, but you've still got to lift the barrier up your hand by hand.
That's someone's full-time job.
Yeah, literally that's someone's job. That for an example is pretty cool. But obviously the trains we have down here tend to be very modernised.
Yeah.
I like European trains.
Okay.
So when I've been to Holland and like been through Switzerland and everything, those trains are very interesting looking. Just the interior of them is all weird. It's all like very old looking, but you know that they run just as well.
Are they quite loud as well?
Yeah.
Yeah.
They tend to be quite loud, very squeaky.
Yeah.
Some of the London Undergrounds can be quite cool. Like Brick Lane Underground is quite fun. But yeah, no, I do like the trains in England, but they're all very new and fancy for me.
Yeah, they're all set in there. Well, it was interesting. So when I went to that train depot open day, and you can see my photos for that at Max Barrett Pictures. Probably out now. I'm going to plug my own Instagram as well. All chances we can. I loved the fact that you could see the modern trains, but you could see them like in a new light. So we got to see them with the casters. What's it called? You know, the wheels weren't attached to the train, and we could see all of the ins of that. It was really cool. We could see inside like the cabin of the Javelins, the high speed that runs to London. Yeah. There's only 27 really cool. of them in England, in Kent.
I know. Yeah, I've heard all these like weird things about them, and they all run from arcades.
Yeah.
Yeah, and they're always late.
They're not always late, the high-speed ones, though, at least. Compared to the... Yeah. But, yeah, they're beautiful trains. I try and get photos as much as possible. And at the depot, there were tons of old trains. Managed to pick up some Hornby as well, which I'll definitely be taking photos with.
No, I'm more of I like old-looking trains. And I find in Europe, people that could do graffiti are a bit more daredevilish, and they will graffiti on the trains, which is very, very common.
Yeah.
And I just like the way it looks. I just like train stations. I don't know what it is about them. I just find that if they're industrial looking, they look quite funky.
I struggle to explain it too. It's and to be fair, we're actually going to be speaking to a train driver on the podcast. We're talking to Steve, Train Steve. We're going to be talking to him about trains, so we can find out.
That is next week's topic.
Yeah. We'll get into that. We're in the next bit now. We're going to be talking. So just to tease the next two topics we got coming up. We got trains with Steve, and we're going to be talking about why he does what he does, the ins and outs of trains.
That's pretty cool.
And what he does for work, basically. And we're also going to be talking to Mike, who's solo travelling. We're recording this on the 25th of June. I spoke to him this morning because we're recording tomorrow. He is in San Francisco at the minute. It's about 5 in the morning there at the moment, 5, 6 in the morning. And he's going to have major jet lag.
That's pretty cool.
But he is, over there at the minute, and he solo travels a lot. So he's solo travelled all over the UK, absolutely adores it. And we're going to be talking to him tomorrow. But that episode will probably be at the end of July, early August. So these ones are coming out. Got episodes to cover all the way through summer, quite literally. It's pretty good. We're recording this in a bit of good weather as well. And at the rate we're recording, I'm going to be in a t-shirt and sunglasses recording whilst it's cold outside when you end up hearing these words. So that's just what Emma and I have to say about film photography so far. We're going to be wrapping up with Emma's final thoughts of the show in just a few moments, but there are future topics that we are still looking for people to talk about. So if you have a story about mindfulness and meditation, do get in touch. Maybe you've meditated before, or now you do yoga. We want to hear your story. We are also looking for a guest to talk about a new experience that you've had. Have you tried a new activity? What was it? Did it meet your expectations? We want to hear from you if you're between the ages of 18 and 30 and live in Kent. All the links, again, in the YouTube description to Emma's photography account, mine, also the other podcast episodes we've referred to, all of that, everything we've been discussing. It's going to be a packed out description full of content to keep going, as well as the link to the My Generation podcast Facebook page. where you can get in touch if you want to feature on the show. So Emma, just to wrap up in general what we've been discussing so far, what would you say has been the main takeaway from this week's podcast as a whole for you?
I don't know, I think I've realised how proud I am that I do film photography. Enough to talk about it, even if it's just a hobby. Like anything that, like, I think just in general, just be proud of hobbies.
Yeah.
Hobbies.
Well,
And
hobbies
you meet
shape
people along
you.
the way, yeah. You
Yeah.
meet people along the way. I am very community based, and I think that's one thing I've always wanted to try and stick to. And I feel like this is a good way. Canterbury's so creative, and anything we can do to stay creative is quite fun.
Yeah, and it's quite... You end up meeting people through the love of the hobby who you wouldn't otherwise meet. We wouldn't be having this discussion if like I hadn't bought this camera or whatever. And so it's something you're going to keep doing, keep pushing through. And it's the same with other hobbies. So what would you also say for someone new getting into film photography, as someone they've just either bought their first camera or first disposable camera, they've just gone to Boots. What would you say to someone just starting out?
I think don't be worried about how you look in your pictures. You're not going to be able to see them straight away. I don't know, try and one-time wonder everything.
Yeah.
Like, it is going to be only one photo. Obviously, it depends how much you want to put money into it. Like, your first picture you might not see for a month.
Yeah.
And you'll actually forget about it, and I think that's quite fun. You get excited that you're going to see a memory that you did a month ago. That's quite fun.
Yeah.
And you're like, I remember this day, what happened on it. And you're like, oh yeah.
Yeah.
Or you forget, and you literally just forget what was on it at all.
Yeah, I think I've got a roll coming. My second roll's coming back tomorrow.
Yeah.
I can't remember a photo I took on it.
Yeah, you won't remember, and I think that's the fun of it sometimes. That is just really fun to think of.
Yeah. Well, it's nice because then it's a polite... it's a good surprise.
Yeah.
Yeah. Although I know that there's one photo on my third roll which I'm absolutely dying for. And because if I'm looking at the dates, it should be with me by the time this goes live. And it's a photo I took at Gatwick train station, because there was a Gatwick Express train, and in the background was a plane.
Oh, that's pretty cool.
And the photo I know was overexposed when I took it, but I literally couldn't get my aperture down enough to be properly exposed because it was such a bright day. And I'm keeping my fingers crossed that one comes out good.
Yeah, there are some on there that you're going to pray have come out.
Yeah.
But if they haven't, you can probably guess like what went wrong. So, but yeah.
And if it has come out good, it will be on Max Barrett Pictures.
It will be good.
And it will be there for you to see by now if it is. If it's not there, it means it didn't come out good.
No, yeah, just assume.
Yeah. But no, that's part of the beauty of it. Well, thank you for coming on and talking
right.
about this, Emma. Would we be able to get you back on at some point in the future to talk on the podcast again?
Yeah, of course, yeah.
Good. Well,
I do lots of funky things. So.
Yeah. And other hobbies that we can get Emma to talk about. And maybe even the trip to India, because that'll be a saga.
Yeah, that'll be fun.
Yeah.
That'll be a good one.
Well, have a good time there. I'm sure you'll take lots of photos that we'll all be seeing very soon.
Exciting.
Yeah, well, thank you all for listening, everyone. We've got solo travelling. We've even got, didn't even mention on this bit of paper, we've got Eleanor also talking about acting in theatre. We spoke to Cleo a couple of weeks ago about writing in theatre. We're going to be talking about the actor side of it. We've got trains. We've got travelling. We've got theatre. All of that coming up in the next few weeks. And next week, I'm talking solo again, just me, about films that change people's lives. That's next week's official episode. And then all of that great stuff coming up through July, August. We're covered for the whole of summer. We're recording these episodes while it's still nice and warm, so that when it isn't nice and warm, you've still got beautiful new content coming to you. Thank you all for listening, and we'll see you next week for the next episode of the My Generation podcast. Cue end music that I don't have.